Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world.
I have no idea who sings that song. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. My name is Rudy Wilson. I'm a preacher's kid. We got Janessa, Rowland. She's a preacher's kid. Terry Wayne, he's a preacher's kid. And Kellie Lee is the worst of us all, who is...
That would be correct.
No, you're not taking my title from me, okay?
She's a bishop's kid. She's the worst. She's
Who is a bishop? As long as it's not
I want to add something to the DVD extras. I just got chewed out a little bit by saying that I'm pushing for faster podcast here. All right.
I didn't even hear what you just said.
Is you pushing for what?
See,
I said I just got bullied before we started recording over faster podcasts. Like, let's start a seven.
No, it wasn't.
We're not all of us are on CPT time. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
We don't put the T in there, Terry. It's just CP time.
That's why you shouldn't try to say it.
My co-host on my other podcast taught me that, and she's like, "No, I'm on CPT time." So you can blame Gio for that one.
T actually is for time. So you're saying
Yeah.
CPT time. You keep saying it twice.
Thank you.
So it's like saying ATM machine. You know what I mean? Like the M is for machine. You should
Right.
There you go, Terry. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Everybody still says ATM machine, but they don't get dragged out. And here I am.
But so that people also know, this long talking that's happening right now is why the podcast can't be fast. This is what was on the
once we get going, you know.
All right. No, so how's everybody doing? Kellie Lee, let's start with you. How's your week? How's you been doing? What's popping?
Doing well. Can't complain. I was able to work from home these last 3 days. I go back into the building tomorrow. So it was nice working from home, which is why my hair's not done. So if this goes viral for you guys who see it, I had it in 3-4 days. So forgive me.
Have you been engaging with students like from home, or have you just been doing?
I haven't had to. So teachers have been still teaching students regularly, but I haven't had to engage with students.
But you realize by saying that you're working from home means you had a lot more time to get your hair done, right?
See, it doesn't quite work like that. So I don't.
I mean, I work from home every day. Like even before the pandemic, I worked from home. So.
No, when no one sees my hair, I don't do my hair.
Well,
so
neither
yeah.
do I, but I know I got the podcast coming, so I throw a comb through it.
But your hair and her hair is two totally
I was about to say, Terry, when you
That's-
wash your hair,
That's true. Well, I'd say that my hair versus a woman's hair in general is very different, because I know my girlfriend takes a good hour to work on her hair, and she's only 15% black, so I can't even imagine.
I thought
what
that
you-
an hour is child's play in the hair. I said an hour is child's play.
I take longer than an hour.
Yeah.
It takes an hour to wash the hair.
She's only 15%, so you got to give her that.
Yeah, but either way, we talk about your hair and Kellie's hair, two totally different situations. That's the point. She can't just throw a comb through and just.
I don't even give it a big deal. I think Kellie's hair looks nice. It looks
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, I appreciate
Hopefully, I just can't see most of it. I tried to make it look halfway decent.
It's fine. That to me, that looks like a black woman's equivalent of like a white girl throwing her hair in a ponytail. It's the same thing to me.
That's what I did. Threw it in a ponytail.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Put a little scarf on, kept it moving.
Yeah. The only difference is you can't put that through like the back hole of a baseball cap, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a little much for that.
Well, you know, I've always said the same thing. If you're a white girl and you have a ponytail coming through the hole of a baseball cap in the back, you definitely drive a Jeep Wrangler. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lifestyle. That ain't a look. That's a lifestyle. Like, you like rock climbing and you drive a Jeep Wrangler.
So, Janessa, how you doing?
I'm doing good. This week has been less stressful, so we thank you, Jesus.
Gotcha. That stressful is always good.
And I'm almost done with my first semester of grad school, so
Whoop, whoop.
that's a plus.
How long is grad school? How many years?
I think it's 2.
You think? You should probably.
It depends on how much you apply yourself.
Right. So I asked my advisor specifically what my anticipated graduation date was, and she was like, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's early 20 whatever. And I was just like, oh, okay, thanks for helping me out, but I'll circle back, as we say.
You can probably figure that out. You know, they gonna have you in school 15 years. You ain't even gonna know it.
No,
you're almost done, Miss Rowland. Just a few more courses.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna circle back, and I'll give y'all a date next week.
Please do. That'll be important.
Yeah.
To find out.
My younger sister was supposed to be in college for 4 years, and now she just turned 30, and she's still in college. So
she's gonna finish.
It'd be like that.
No, she already finished, and she's gone on to grad school, and then she went on to more grad school, trying to get her doctorate and all that. So who knows? It just depends on which way you choose. You could stay in school forever, and I think she might.
Well, you know,
stay in school.
Even though I really don't have any desire at this very moment to do a PhD program, you know, I told y'all about my rapping days at Spelman.
You did.
Yeah.
And how the second album was supposed to be MCs with PhDs. So if I pop up with a PhD, it's not because I really wanted it. It's because
that album got to be legit.
You're just fulfilling the promises that you made in the campaign.
You want your lyrics to be real. Like, you don't want people to say you out here faking like something.
Right. And Rudy, get this. It would be so hot if I could get my mama and my sister on the track, because they MCs with PhDs too. I'm gonna have to write some bars for my mom though, because you know. She don't know about that.
Family version of the Wu-Tang Clan. All right,
I would suggest this though, Janessa, before you commit to that PhD, find out how long it is first. Find out the requirements. Make you do that this time.
Get the
I'm gonna be 50 talking about, guys, I got 2 more years left.
Get the semantics all hashed out, and then we can talk about old dirty grandma or whatever.
Right.
In your Wu-Tang Janessa crew.
That's right. Y'all can be a part of the Wu-Tang crew too.
No, I'll be like a producer or something.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you don't. I'll be the one that takes way too much money away from the group. How about that?
No, we watched too many documentaries, TLC, New Edition. We're not letting you do all that.
If the rap group with PhDs gets screwed over, y'all deserve it.
There's no hope for anybody after that. If the PhD crew gets fucked, then you're done.
The smartest rappers on earth got screwed over financially. What the hell was going on here?
Nope.
If it can happen to NWA, it can happen to you.
No. Rudy, how's your week?
Oh, I was going to answer after Terry. I'll let Terry.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry, Terry.
Go ahead, Terry Wayne.
I'm fine. No, I've just been sitting here full of piss and vinegar waiting to get this started. I've been sitting here literally for 6 days just waiting. I haven't left this room. It's a mess all around me. Yeah.
Is it because you have no life, or is it because you were really anticipating the podcast?
A little from column A, a little from column B, you know?
Okay. Okay. Glad you're being honest.
Yeah, well, you know, actually, the truth is, you know, I've been really busy lately. I got vaccinated, so I'm back out on the comedy scene now, which is the same reason why I got to jam out pretty quick at the end of this, because I got another show to do. So now that people know that I'm back out, I'm getting more bookings and, you know, doing more shows, and it feels good. It feels really good after this long. I
was going to say, did you have any side effects to the vaccination?
No, none whatsoever. Couldn't say. And I had the Johnson & Johnson one, which is in the news right now because everybody's saying like, oh, there were 6 cases of people who had a blood clot disorder. Well, I'm a heavy smoker, as anybody who watches this knows, which is also a blood clot. It puts you in the high risk for blood clots. I didn't have any issue, and 6 cases out of 7 million, I'll take those chances. The odds of getting COVID and dying of it are a lot higher than suffering some kind of complication from the vaccination. So, I mean, that's just a math problem to me.
Until that, I've also been vaccinated. I got I got my second shot Monday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the Pfizer. Yep, with vaccination. Only side effects I really had was my arm was sore and fatigue. Like after the first shot, I didn't really know what fatigue was until I got the first shot. But otherwise, I was fine. Like today I was super tired. Like I said, I got it Monday afternoon, my second shot. And today, like 2:00, it just hit me. And I was tired. I took a little nap, 2-3 hours. But otherwise, I've been fine.
Well, I get my second shot Friday, so I'm a little nervous. Yeah, but I have Moderna. I have the Moderna one.
Okay.
Well, this is a good case study. Because you got the Pfizer, I got the Johnson & Johnson, you got the Moderna.
Yep.
I got nothing.
We have the whole spectrum.
All we got to do is get Rudy to get the AstraZeneca, and we got the whole deal.
I would say for me, though, my arm definitely hurt. But to me, it hurt very bad. Like, I feel like my friends were like, oh, my arm hurt just a little bit. But for me, I was just like couldn't move it and just.
Yeah, but that's not the vaccine. Your arm hurt because somebody stuck a needle in it.
I had heat pads, ibuprofen. It was not it.
Mine wasn't that deep.
Well, if I stuck a needle with nothing in it in your arm, it would hurt too.
Well, it hurt. I hope the second one isn't bad because my mom got really sick with the second one.
Moderna too.
I think she had Pfizer.
Okay.
But she chills, fever, body ache, like all of the flu symptoms we were talking about. She got that.
Okay.
Actually, this is a good question because maybe you guys have ever heard this joke. It's an old Christian joke that I learned a long time ago, where there's a guy drowning at sea, right? Mm-hmm. And the only reason I bring this up is because there's a large portion of the people, at least in my life, maybe I don't know about in yours, that are wary of the vaccines and whatnot, but are also big believers in the church. And there's an old joke that says, there's a guy drowning at sea. Have we done this before?
And he had different ways to help him, but he refused.
Yeah,
we have talked about this.
2 boats and a helicopter, and he refused it. He said, God's going to save me. And then he dies, he goes to heaven, and he asks God, why didn't you save me? He says, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. Well, 2 boats and a helicopter is Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. Like, he's not going to send an angel down to bless you.
That was the stupidest metaphor that you came up with on this podcast. How is a vaccine that people are trying out the same as God sending you a rescue boat? How's that the same thing? Getting on a boat when it's a flood, as opposed to taking 3 different companies have a vaccine that's supposed to do the same thing. One of them getting shut down because it ain't doing the same thing. Everybody's still figuring out how this person reacting this way, that way. If you get on a boat, it ain't gonna be no different reaction. You're just not gonna drown. With these vaccines, everybody's still taking a chance. I'm not saying it's gonna mess you up, but I'm not saying that it's not. That's not. This isn't the be all. If you don't get the vaccine, I don't think you're going to be considered doomed.
Well, there's been over 100 million vaccines given out, so I don't think anybody's a guinea pig anymore at this point. What you said, my stupid My
metaphor.
stupid example was,
Yeah.
no, my stupid example was basically that God doesn't come down on a white cloud and save you. He gives you tools to save yourself.
He gives you vaccines, is what you're saying.
I'm saying if God exists and he is in control of everything, then we have vaccines only because of him. Lest we forget the scripture that says a man does not rise to power without the blessing of God. Period.
And vaccines.
Well, Fauci didn't get there on his own if God exists. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
According to the scripture as it stands.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. So
Okay.
what's the topic for today? Let's go there, because this is.
Did we
Am I
talk
the
about
only
you?
one that studied the reading? Am I the only one that did the reading? Yeah.
Did the reading on what?
On theology.
Terry, we've moved on. Okay.
All right.
We've moved on. Janessa,
It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever.
what you got for us?
Woo. Okay, let me just pull it up on my phone because I just came up with it. So basically, the conversation for today stems around just kind of like the role of the church. So let me pull up what I wrote down. So churches are known for soul care. We know about spiritual guidance, spiritual healing, spiritual realm. But the question I have for y'all are like, what other services should churches provide to their communities? Services, yes. So whether it be like food pantries or tutoring for kids in school or mentorship programs or finances, how to make a budget. Like, what are services that you guys think churches should implement, whether they're already implemented or you would like to see churches implement them, or yeah.
Gotcha. I would say just to I guess give like a pre-conversation to even that question. Can even go back to some, Terry, that you mentioned before we started recording in reference to like I guess like the distribution of money when it comes down to church. So like when people are paying their tithe, of course we had the whole conversation about like, you know, pastors taking a salary and stuff like that. But aside from anybody as an individual getting paid, whether they're the church secretary, whether they're a musician, let's scratch all of that part of the finances. But when it comes down to what the money is used for outside of bills or outside of, you know, paying somebody's salary, where that money, I guess, how that money should be budgeted, I guess, you know, amongst the churches. I think that's what, like when churches don't have those resources, then it doesn't matter what they should give, they can't. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, being that a church is a nonprofit, you can do, you know, different benefits, whether you can get a grocery store to like donate, you know, bread or whatever the case may be, and do different things that can help the community. But I do think that a church with a lack of resources, it's hard for them to help. You know what I'm saying? If the church itself needs help, if that makes sense. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was gonna say that makes sense. I think for my experiences, my churches have kind of done a little bit of everything. But I definitely understand that there are a lot of churches that are unable to provide resources to the community or to their members. Let me say to the community and their members, because I think there's should be a difference in what I don't know should be, but I think I've seen a difference in what the church provides to their community versus what they provide to their members.
Right.
And then what they provide to, and I don't know if this, and somebody may have a thought on this, what they provide to members that pay tithes and what they provide to members that don't is also a big thing. But I would say if the church is able to, that they should be able to, that they should provide any resource that they can. So be it food, be it benevolence for rent payment, car payment, child care or something of that sort. I think this church should offer tutoring services. I've seen my church offer tutoring services. I've seen them offer a new church that I go to, so not my family's church, but another church that I go to here in Atlanta. They're building like an entire community center with like a laundromat and showers, you know, 1 or 2 bedrooms, so that people who are homeless or in need have a space to come and not be judged about, hey, I need to wash a load of clothes, or, you know, I need a shower. You know, I think they'll have access to food, maybe not hot food, but food. You know, I definitely think that the church should be a resource, like I said, to the community and to their members, you know, but I understand that there may be a difference in that. Like I know, like sometimes for benevolence, you know, if we're paying or if the church is paying for, you know, rent or a hotel because you've lost your apartment or something like that, sometimes they require you to be a member of the church. I know sometimes I've seen where they've gone as far as have you tithe? But I think there should be a resource. I know my dad, just in general, is just a person where like I will help you, but you got to show me where you help yourself as well. Right. And so I'm not just going to give you the $600 for your you know, entire rent. I may give you 4, you got to come up with the 2. That's how my father worked for me too, growing up. So that's just kind of, you know, you know who he is. But I honestly feel like the church is a place where I feel like you should be able to go to tap into resources to be able to function and live if they're able to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like that laundry room bedding. Like I've never heard of any church do that, but I think that's pretty dope because that's stuff that people need. Like,
and but I want to get to her father's statement. So your father has the God helps those who help themselves kind of thing, right?
I don't know if God helps those, but he helps those that helps himself.
I don't know what God doing.
But Kelly helps those who help themselves.
I think he's more on the faith without works.
I didn't get this from the scripture. This is just me.
You know, like I said, even with me, you know, when to tell y'all my personal business, like if I needed something in my adulthood that I was unable to pay for, you know, myself, and I went to my father to ask for assistance, he's not going to, even if he was able to, he's not going to just pay, oh, here's, you know, $500 to get your air conditioning fixed. Right. No, I'll give you, you know, this piece, but you're gonna have to put up something. And so I feel like from what I've seen, that's kind of what a position that he's taken with benevolence in the church as well. I will give you a piece of it, you know, or I may give you a night or 2 in the hotel, you know, and then night 3, you may have to, you know, we got to, you know, something. You got to pull the money from somewhere. Like I said, but that's just kind of he was very much a, if you don't work, you don't eat. Me growing up, I didn't do them chores. I couldn't eat. I couldn't go out. Couldn't get. So that's just him. But I do, like I said, but he is most definitely a pastor in a church that caters to the community and the needs of the community and his members. And I think the church should. And the church that, to your point, Janessa, is called Impact. It's not on Sylvan Road. And I really like Impact because they really do some real out of the box type of things. And so I thought that was a pretty dope idea. Like I said, they had talked about it prior to COVID. I'm not sure where they are in the process now with COVID and everything. But I thought it was super dope.
I like it too.
I got a question. Do y'all think that people are aware that they have that type of access in church. And what I mean is like when you, because immediately when it comes down to just say paying tithe or anything, the first thing that most people think of is that how this money is going to go to the pastor. You get what I'm saying? But like, I don't know if people actually realize that as we're paying tithes, like, yes, this same money does pay somebody's salary, may pay the light bills, whatever the case may be, but it's also, you know, it's almost like paying for insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you pay your insurance, and then when you need it, you're able to tap into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering, do people actually even know that that's a thing? You know what I'm saying? Because I think people may get in trouble and not even ask the church because they might not even know that the church would even do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you like, some people may even feel like unless you're like in the inner circle, like, oh, that's, you know, they help her because that's Deacon such and such granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? That's why she was able to, you know. But I'm just, and it's just an opinion. There's no right or wrong. But I'm just wondering, like, even from y'all experience, like, did y'all's churches, did people seem like they definitely knew it and took advantage of it? And maybe I'm just the oblivious one because I never really thought about it growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe it just, I was in a good position, thankfully. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I never even really, you know, I don't know. I never really thought about like using the money to, whether it's to pay tutors to come tutor kids or, you know, to pay for this and pay for that. Like, I never even thought about it. I just thought we paid, you know, because God said so. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just my mindset.
I'll say for our church, now I don't know all the services, and I'm the pastor's daughter, which is probably a shame. However, I will say for our church, we have like very distinguished bylaws and rules and, you know, set standard of how things are going to be done. And part of those rules is, I want to say twice a year or maybe quarterly, we have business meetings where they literally go through the financials of the church, and anybody can come to those meetings. So if you want to know, you know, where the money is going and how things are being spent, you have access to that knowledge. And I'm assuming, I mean, I've been to a business meeting, it's been a while. You can, you know, see where, oh, they did put this money towards helping pay for rent, or they paid, you know, this money to go towards someone's health bills or whatever. And I guess through that process, if you go to those meetings, then you would know that if you're having problems, you could go talk to such and such. But if you're not like attending those meetings and you just come on Sunday and you know, live your life, probably won't know about all the services offered. I know sometimes before COVID, you know, that good old announcement time in the service is where a lot of times certain service resources are offered. You know, they'll say, oh, we have tutoring before Bible study on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 in, I don't know, the fellowship hall or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's another way you can get information. But I don't know if there's any place in our church, like the website or something like that, where you can just, you know, a centralized location where you can get the resources.
Well, I guess I understand your answer. And I guess I was even thinking, even to the point of like, you know, people always like, I wonder where my tax dollars are going. Like, you know, I guess even just the awareness that like we're able to have tutoring because you guys pay tithe. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're able to have these free resources to everybody as well as the community because or as a result of this. Or do people just think they're just paying tithe, like I said, just because it's scriptural and they want, you know, God to pour them out a blessing that they don't have room enough to receive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are people really viewing this thing?
I mean, I think, like to Janessa's point, I think that for the people who aren't as involved, they may not know. I think some of the things like tutoring, like I know I was a tutor at one point. But I didn't get paid for it. It was a volunteer type, you know, resource that the church was giving, you know, where there's other things that people pay for. You know, even when they have like financial classes or marriage workshops or, you know, or those type of resources that they offer to the community. Some of them are paid, some of them are not. Where they pay the instructor, you know, the facilitator, and some of them don't. But I feel like, I don't know. I would like to say, I guess, your involvement or your want. I feel like people in need find a resource. You're in need enough. You call every place that you need. Like I said, and we just never we may not have been in need, or you growing up may not have been in need
Right.
to know.
Right.
But I've seen and heard and talked to my dad about a good number of people who access the church for financial support. For sure. But I think even now, working in a low income school, people in need find a way to satisfy their needs. And I hope that they can see the church as a place to go.
Right.
But broad, I mean, actually, that's a good question. Just in general, like I said, I see it at the school level because that's where, the kids go to school. And so we have, different resources to help with housing and financial things and transportation and those type of things. But I do wonder, I wish I could survey those parents and say, do you go to the church, to your local church, to ask for assistance as well? And what has that experience look like? Because not all churches give out those resources. Some of them, can't. Some of them don't. Some of them, don't believe it, or whatever, And so I'm sure for a lot of people, it takes one no to say, I'm not going back to the church to ask, whatever. I think my experience, I've been blessed with a church that has been able to do that. But I've also attended some churches that I know that they're having trouble, paying their own bills, let alone somebody else's. So
and you guys can answer this from a personal experience or even just in general, but do you guys know if, like, when a church, let's just say if a church helps them get, and I don't know this answer. I don't even know what this answer is for my dad's church. But like if a church just say, like, help somebody with some money for any reason, whether it's a car note, light bill, rent, food, groceries, anything. Is it a loan or is it a blessing?
So in my experience, it's not a loan. So they do not have to pay it back.
Okay. In my experience, it's the same. It's a loan. Now, in my personal life, my dad will give me the money and then I have to pay him all the way back. The difference, though, is by paying him back, I don't pay interest. So it's a daddy bank with no interest. But yeah, no, at the church, I think it's a blessing.
Gotcha. I've definitely, it's not my dad's church, but I definitely have been a part of a church where it's definitely a loan. They was like, we help you out to your feet. We need that back though.
I'm gonna try and get a few words in while I can, while my internet's still up. I've seen it both ways. Like I was telling you earlier. Huh?
Now just saying your picture is super clear right now. Like it looks like you're like super clear.
I had to switch to my phone because my Wi-Fi went out, so I had to switch to my phone. But no, I've seen it on both sides. I remember Saturdays where my whole afternoon was just spending out, giving out government cheese and bread and peanut butter and milk and whatnot, and we did that the whole afternoon. But in the opposite side of it, where it's not just the church giving out to its parishioners gave back to the church. When has anybody actually lived in a church before?
What do you mean live? Like sleep, bathe?
No, like you live, like your house is attached to the church as a parsonage. Well, that back in the day, back in the 80s, that's the way it was. Your house was literally part of the church. They just kind of converted it into a little house, which is what mine was. And then a kid that lived across the street, who had an abusive father and a bad childhood, kind of went nuts, felt alone, felt marginalized, whatever he felt, and he burned the church down. He burned our church down while me, my mom, and my sister were inside. Which I haven't told you guys. I don't know why I haven't never told you the story before, but yeah, we thought my father was in his office that was in the parsonage. We opened the window one time. It was like an L-shaped building. So we opened the window and the whole church was engulfed in flames and we could just see it from our window.
Wow.
And, but my point is with that is when that church burned down, all of the people who were members of that church all came out. Contractors, general contractors, electricians, everybody came out and we rebuilt that church ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, there was insurance money, but all that did was pay for the supplies that we needed. They rebuilt that church themselves and we stayed there for another 10 years. You know, literally in the house that God built, you know. So I believe that there is a duality between the two. The church should take care of its people and the people should take care of its church. That's the deal that you get into when you get into one of these things. The thing that hurts my heart the most is when I think about that story and I think about how great that was and how great it was for the people to come together to rebuild their house of God. It breaks my heart when I see like somebody that needs a parishioner that needs a surgery or a church member that has a child who is sick and then the church doesn't help out. That's what breaks my heart, is because it's like, no, you're supposed to be there for them, because if you fall or if your church burns down, you're going to expect them to be there for you. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it's about. We're here, we live, we all live together. We're supposed to help each other out, and then we die and we're done. That's the end of it, you know? So it breaks my heart when I see churches not reaching out in their community to people who really need it. Because if they really needed it, they would rely on their community.
No, I agree that it goes both ways. Like, even, I don't know if you were still on when I was talking about some of the resources that I know my church has given, like tutoring or marriage workshops or financial workshops, or, you know, those type of things where an expert in an area just gave back to the church without being paid for it. I know that a lot of times the, like you said, the electricians or the carpenters or the plumbers or whatever, most of the time we hire within members of the church. You know,
you should.
Right. You know,
Yes.
They don't, of course, do the service for free. But they may do it at, you know, a reduced rate to help the church, you know, and then the church helps them by giving them so much business. So I agree. It's definitely a members community provide resources to the church, and the church provides resources to.
I'm sorry. Did I forget to mention that? No, those members of that church, the Fifth Avenue Church of God in Deerfield Beach, they rebuilt that church for free. They donated.
That's what I assumed when you said it. Yeah.
They donated all their time. The insurance paid for the cost of the building materials, and we rebuilt that church for free. Everyone did, and it was one of the greatest senses of community that I've ever had in my life. I'll never forget it. And I was young. I was like 6 years old, but I'll never forget my father and a couple of members from the church sitting up there remaking the roof, you know, rebuilding the walls, putting the stained glass back in. Like, I mean, it was incredible. It was an incredible thing to witness. It really was. And I think that that's something that we've lost over the years.
Yeah, I was going to also add to what you and Kelly said, Terry. When we utilize our church members' talents, like, I don't think, I mean, in our churches, clearly we do, but I'm not sure about other churches. But when we utilize our members' talents, like, it affects the whole community. I know one thing our church, can't talk today, our church did was young adults at one point were like, hey, we want information about stocks and trading and finances and business loans and entrepreneurships and investing and all these things. And it's like, you literally have people who are investors in your church or stock traders in your church. You know what I'm saying? So now we're able to put these classes together or workshops together where people are able to share knowledge, in a space that you might not get anywhere else, or you might not even know where to turn to learn about investing. University of YouTube is helpful, but maybe it might be helpful if you could actually talk to somebody who actually does it.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too. That's why I kind of brought this up. I think we all have a lot of things we can contribute and help uplift other people, but are we really doing it? Are we just kind of
not even? I'll piggyback on you, Janessa. One of the greatest things my father ever taught me was that people who know something, people who are educated about something, or people who have experience about something, they want to share it. They want to share it. You know what I mean? If you know anything about anything, you want to share it. You know how I know that's true? Because we're all here. None of us are being paid for any of this, but we have experience. We have this knowledge. We've had this, this life, and we want to share it with others. So we're doing it now at our own detriment, giving our own time for free. And I don't think we have enough faith in each other. She was talking about they didn't do it for free. Well, why not? Why not ask them? What's the harm in asking? Maybe if you just approach somebody the right way and say, hey, I heard you're a great roofer. Our church burned down. Maybe you can help us rebuild it. You got to believe in the goodness of each other. You really do. But I think that's something we've lost. I think that is a lesson that we have lost, is that people really want to do good as long as you give them the opportunity to do so. But if you dangle some money in front of them, they're probably going to take that too.
And I think it's important to remember too that, as you guys both said, that resources resources that the church provides and that people provide for the church includes more than just finances and money.
Right.
Time and talent and energy and those things that I can't get back. Money comes and goes, but my time, once it's gone, I can't get that hour or two back. Like you said, we don't get paid for this, and
Right.
we sit here for an hour and a half, 2 hours doing this podcast. We don't get this time back. Now I enjoy this time that I'm here, but
it's
we
well
don't
spent.
get it back.
It's a well spent hour.
Yes, it is, and so I think that's important too. Is realizing and understanding that resources span beyond just money back and forth from the community to the church and the church back to the community. And I think both of you guys kind of hit on that, talent and time and energy and those things as well.
But that's what it takes from people in the church. It takes people like us, all four of us, that are just willing to come out here and spend our time and spend our experience to do something we think might help somebody. Yeah, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe we rebuild the church, or maybe it falls apart, but it doesn't matter. You spend your weekends doing it, you spend your hour a week doing it. It's works for the good. We're doing works for the good.
Right, but see, there's still a difference to a certain degree. So number one, when it comes down to us giving our free time to this podcast, number one, none of us are professional podcasters. This is not any of our livelihood. So it's not like any of us brought so much value to this podcast as an individual where a payment is even, required. It's not
That's debatable. No.
Well, no, it is actually debatable, because technically my other Blame Girl podcast just got picked up for syndication. So technically I am a professional podcaster.
But what did it do for this podcast? But what did it do for this podcast specifically?
What it does for this podcast is it helps the notoriety, because if my other podcast gets into syndication and takes off, it's going to help this one just by me being here. And I will be here.
I said what? I didn't say. And listen, Linda. I didn't say what it could do. I'm saying what has it done. You come into this podcast. You weren't a professional podcaster. You have your real estate thing, because this isn't your livelihood. You're not bringing the same expertise. But if we needed something in real estate, you wouldn't be wrong for getting compensated for that. You wouldn't be required to give that for free, because that is what you do.
No, but I would give it.
Wait. Let me finish. And even to Kellie's point earlier, when it comes down to the church helping and people helping the church, I think that the church should definitely give way more than they should be receiving from the members. And what I mean by that is, if somebody in my church is a carpenter and when we need something done when it comes down to that field or that skill, me as a church, I don't mind paying that person because for one, they're a member of this church. They pay tithes to this church. They do all their due diligence, and I'm providing their service, which what they do professionally, how they make their money, how they feed their family. I'm financing that by giving them another job. They can do carpentry somewhere else, and they can also do carpentry at the church. So just because they go to the church doesn't mean like, hey man, this is the church, man. Do it for free. No. I'm not. If you want to give me to them for a discount rate because you want to do us a favor, that's fine. But I'm not going to require you to do me a favor just because I'm a church. When especially,
but nobody.
You're already doing me a favor by being here every week. You're already paying tithes from this same business that we're requiring of you. So I'm not going to get your tithe money and get your free services because going back to Kelly's point, you don't get your time back. You're still taking time away from your family.
That's the big difference. The church didn't used to have to ask.
It's not about asking. We're going off a specific situation. I don't know what happened in any. I'm saying I'm not giving something that actually happened to two people that I know. I'm just giving an example. So what I'm saying is I don't know if the church asked or if the person offered. But the point that I'm making is that if somebody is a member of my church and they're an entrepreneur, they got their own construction business, and if I needed something done, it's nothing wrong with me paying them to work on what it is that we need because we should be helping them as our member. Why would I take free labor from them when they're already giving me their free time and their free efforts on something else when it comes down to the ministry of the church?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you why. Because all the people that helped rebuild the church, we had a rededication ceremony.
Right? I'm not talking about a church being burnt down. I'm not talking about a church being burnt down. I'm not talking about a church being burnt down.
I'm just giving you an example. Hang on. Just listen to the whole thing first.
But you're talking about your father's church that got burnt down specifically is what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about somebody.
I'm talking about attitude, man. I'm talking about attitude. I'm talking about helping each other out. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a specific incident. I'm just giving a specific incident as an example. Okay? We had a rededication ceremony, and all the contractors who came out and helped, they were all brought up on the stage. They were put in front of 600 people, saying that these people gave their time, they gave their expertise, they gave all their knowledge and experience to help rebuild this church. Everybody needs to support them. And you know what happened to all of those contractors? Their businesses exploded because all those 600 people, whenever they needed something done, they said, well, that's a good man. That's a good man that sacrificed his weekends, that gave his time.
But nobody's saying that you can't do that. Nobody's saying that you can't do that.
To rebuild this church. I'm saying it's a I wash your back, you wash mine. I wash your feet, you wash mine kind of a situation. It's some people gave themselves over to a better purpose, and they got rewarded in the end of it. That's what I'm saying.
But nobody's arguing that can't happen.
It's an act of faith.
But what you're trying to say is that doesn't happen in the church today at all, which also isn't true. But the point that I'm making is to Kelly's point, because you made the argument about them doing it for a reduced price or whatever, as opposed to just giving it for free. If somebody's church or the community church or whatever burnt down, even if it's not a church, anything burnt down, whatever the case may be, and everybody came together and said, yo, they just took a real loss. They just lost everything. Let's come together and fix this thing back up. Like, yeah, that's almost expected. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying, let's just say the parking lot is worn down and we just need this new concrete, and we know such and such in the church got this company that does that. So am I going to sit here and ask him to make his whole company repave the whole parking lot over a church that's functioning? We got the money to pay him. You feel what I'm saying? And if he wants to do that,
what you're saying.
If he wants to do that at a reduced rate, that's fine as well. But I'm saying if he wants to do it for free, that's even fine. I don't want to stop anybody from doing something for free, but I'm saying
not for free.
It's not a negative, or it's not a requirement, I should say, for them to do it for free just because it's for the church or even that they go to the church.
You know what it would. You know, it should be. It should be that they repave the parking lot at cost without making a profit, and then the church should turn around and promote the business that helped them, because that's what it's all about. That's what all churches are about. All churches are nothing more than a congregation of people who believe the same things, that are here to help them, each other, get through life, and then we die and we're done. That's all it is. We're here to help each other. So yes, the concrete, the mortar specialist that comes out and lays the concrete or the asphalt, they should do it at cost for the church. And they should get promotions from the church throughout the community and the support of the church throughout the community, so that they can thrive beyond that one job. Because that's what we're here to do. Help each other. I help the church and the church helps me. That's the way it should be.
No, nobody's argued that. I just was making a
All
point.
right. Well, that's my main point. Is just like,
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be free. That's all I'm saying. Just because
I didn't say for free. I said for costs. That's it. You don't have to make a profit off the church, and the church doesn't have to make a profit off you.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Nah. They ain't touching this one, man.
No, I mean, because I think as I already even said, I agree with both points. Like, and I had thought the same thing, Rudy, that if the church is able to pay full price for a service, then they should. But if the service provider, wants to do it for free or reduce price, to give back to the church, and that makes them feel, good, whatever, then that's fine. I definitely though understand in Terry's situation, like you said, when the whole church burned down, and you guys didn't really have the resources to kind of build it back, for those talented, gifted people in those areas to pull together to help, and the church paid for the supplies and the tools. I think it goes both ways. And I agree that the church shouldn't be in a position where they're trying to make a profit from community members, and the community members shouldn't try to just make a profit from the church.
Well, let me put a finer point on it here, okay? Because you're not asking for something for nothing, okay? That's not what it is. When I say that you should pay the parking lot at cost, that means you're not losing anything. Mm-hmm. And then if the church supports you after that and they promote you, trust me, as a business owner, 5 times over, I can tell you that kind of advertisement is priceless. It's priceless, because I'm going to get 10, 15, 20 jobs off that promotion, and I'm going to make way more money than I would have if I would have just charged the church full price and been out the door. I mean, it's you got to think bigger picture, and the bigger picture is, if you do the right thing, in the end, you will get rewarded, which is the basis of Christianity, by the way, that if you do the right thing now, even though it's harder, you will be rewarded in the end. The first in line on earth will be the last in heaven, and the last in line on earth will be the first in heaven. So it's really just about paying your dues. And if you got to support your church, support your church. Nobody's saying taking food out of your kid's mouth or anything, but there's a way to do it to where it's mutually beneficial between the both of you. By getting the church's support for your company, you're going to make more money in the long run. Even though you don't make money on this one job, you're going to get 10 jobs down the road. And I've seen this for myself. I've seen it happen.
I wouldn't say that was a finer point. I think you made the same point, Terry. But
well, it's a good business strategy is all I'm saying. It's a good business strategy.
This man repeated himself. All right. My biggest problem, honestly, what I was going to say with something you said, Kelly, as we close this thing out. The real problem is why you or anybody else would have to tutor somebody for free, but then musicians get paid. Now, that's some bullshit. That's where the bullshit.
Well, anytime a musician gets paid, it's bullshit. Anytime a musician gets paid, that's bullshit.
So like I said, when I do remember when I tutored that I did not get paid for it a while back. It was a volunteer type thing. But I will also say I also remember an advertisement in a church bulletin where they were paying tutors. So I guess it goes both ways. Like I said, when I tutored, it was a long time ago. And so maybe it was before they had some money to do it. In more recent times, I did see where they were giving out some money for tutoring. But I don't know,
But the musicians was getting paid this whole time, is what I'm saying. Back then and now.
And musicians get paid a lot of money.
They get paid a lot.
They're under the pastors. Musicians may be next.
I was a musician for years and I ain't never get paid.
Oh,
I was gonna say it depends on what the situation you are in.
You big mad, Rudy.
Clearly.
I'm just saying, it was volunteer work for me, and this was at my dad's church and somebody else's church. I've
known paid music ministers, and I've known broke ones that didn't get anything, just did it voluntarily.
I ain't even talking about the minister of music, because even them, sometimes they can have full-time jobs as far as being in charge of all the music. But I'm talking about a musician who literally show up only on Sundays to play the drums. Like he show up on Sundays and maybe like choir rehearsal.
No, that's usually volunteer work.
They get paid big
not in black churches.
They get paid big.
They get paid a lot.
You're crazy, Kelly.
They come with bands. They be like, this is my drummer, this is my organist, this is my guitar. Like they come together. Like, and if one of us is fired, we all leave. You know,
the majority of musicians that I've ever known that have performed in churches did it for free.
They weren't at black churches.
No, not in black churches.
No, they get paid.
Black churches, they get paid.
No, they did it. They did it for the credibility. That was it. That's the ones I've known.
No, a lot of them would have credibility, which is why they definitely wanted to get paid. Like some of them, would be touring and doing all type of stuff. But some of them would just be regular niggas.
Well, yeah, like the touring ones that would come in, they always got paid. They got their own separate offering.
Oh, I got an offering.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, no, they got their own separate offering. Let's give an offering for the band that came out tonight.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a big difference between black churches and white churches. I'm afraid to say, but there are.
I don't know if I've ever known musicians to not get paid.
Just me. I'm the only one.
Oh, other than Rudy. I know.
I'm right here too with you. As far as a Sunday by Sunday kind of thing goes, and the band that's there every Sunday, they just do it because they like doing it. That's
wow.
It. Yeah.
You send them to my church because I'm sure my dad put the budget down. That would trim them down.
If you go to Craigslist, you can find one tomorrow. Okay, because musicians like to perform. And that's all there is to it. They like performing the same way that we, like Rudy and I, like performing comedy, and we'll go out and do a show for free. It's because we do it for the love of the game, and there's musicians out there like that too. So if you haven't found any, it's because you're not looking hard enough. They're there.
No, you just don't go to black churches. Trust me.
You've never done a free comedy show, Rudy, you've never done comedy for free. Really?
I played instruments in the church for free, Terry. I just said that. Your point is invalid. I wasn't a paid musician.
I know.
But in black churches,
there are musicians that will perform.
That's what we're trying to tell you.
There are musicians that will perform for free.
And they're white, is what I'm trying to tell you. They're white, and if they're black, they look like they're
Rudy.
Yeah, it's me, and then all the white ones. And then all the rest of them, they were smart enough to get paid. I was playing with people who were getting paid, and I still wasn't.
Then why are you giving jokes out for free?
I'm just too humble, man. I just be, no, man, I do it for the Lord. It should have been getting it. Anyways, Kellie Lee, where can they find you?
The Worst Ones PK on Instagram.
Where else can they listen to us at?
What you say?
Where else can they listen to us at?
Oh, anywhere that podcasts can be listened to. Spotify, Apple Podcast,
YouTube.
Yeah. And what should they do?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Give it up for Kellie Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Kellie Lee.
All right. I'm going to go next because I got to get out of here. I got a show in 30 minutes. I got to run.
So do I.
Hey, Terry Wayne Comedy.
So popular.
Terry Wayne Comedy on all social media platforms. Please like, subscribe, but more than anything, comment, because I will respond to your comments, because I love comments and I'd love to get in an argument over theology with you. So bring that on. I'm right here. I don't have much free time, but I will spend it on you. So bring that this way.
All right. And then Janessa.
You can find me at Melanated Brews, everything coffee, tea, and beer related. I actually just put a new post today. I kind of was gone for a minute, but I'm back. So check out my latest post, and don't bring the smoke that Terry wants. I don't.
No, the smoke comes here. Don't
Bring
put it on
Terry.
these ladies.
This
These
way.
ladies don't want that. I want it.
Yeah, I don't want the smoke.
No.
We're having a good time on my page.
No.
We're having a good time.
Having a good time.
Well, thank you guys for listening, all 500,000 of you. We appreciate you. Mom, Marisa, shout out to both of you guys. You guys text me every week and let me know how much you enjoy this podcast. So thank you guys for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. Please check us out on Spotify, all the places that you do get podcasts, YouTube, and at The Worst Ones PK on Instagram. Until next time, we out.
I beat you all to it.